Never seen a firetail walleye before. Lake of the Woods shows out, and a suspended giant was caught on musky gear. We got that and more coming up right now in Target Walleye's Top 5 presented by Seafoam. Let's dive on in. Rainy Lake guy Donnie Obert has handled tens of thousands of walleyes in his lifetime, and even he has never seen one like this. And we're gonna go ahead and call that a firetail walleye. Mother Nature, you crazy. A lot of folks were commenting that it was caused by stress, but Donnie said that that fish was as fat and healthy as any of the other bunch of walleyes they caught that day, pulling Northland butterfly blades at 1.3 miles per hour with the new Northland eye candy plastics on the back, crushing Rainy Lake walleyes.
I've never seen anything like it.
I've seen blue tails and yellow and white and whatever. No white tip, never seen anything like that. If you've caught a firetail walleye before and you have the pics to prove it, let me know. A walleye tournament was just won on Lake of the Woods with nearly a 30-inch average on 5 fish. That's 5 fish of a lifetimes, but all caught in just about 2.5 hours. Let that soak in for a second. And it was won by Northern Minnesota Hammers, Will Pappenfuss and Aaron Schmitz. It was a catch photo release format derby through the Fish Donkey app. And they sacked up 5 in literally, like I said, less than 2.5 hours. They totaled about 147 3/4 inches long because they had just like a little dinky 28 or 29 they couldn't get rid of. Now, I tried to track down the details on how they caught them, but like basically every single tournament walleye fisherman, they're trying to be ultra secretive and they don't want to give up all the goods until they win more money doing whatever it is that they're doing. Now, I know that these guys are live scopers, so I'm assuming, and you know what they say when you assume,
you make an ass out of you and umption.
But I'm assuming that they were chasing live scope suspended fish looking for the biggest blobs and not even casting unless the thing looked like a freaking submarine on the graph. And I heard it was super windy out there, and I believe that one person was just running the boat and focusing on boat control while the other one was casting and having the day of a lifetime. Now, Will did tell me that they had a few different rods on the deck, and basically they would be casting at these giant marks, and if they didn't eat the first presentation, he'd rotate through the next one until they got it to bite. And I've got what those are, sort of. He wouldn't go into specific details on the baits, but it was a glide bait on an Elliott Identity reaction bait rod, which I have one of those, and it is amazing. Glide bait like a jig and wrap style bait. Then also throwing plastics, including the new eye candy paddle shads on the Elliott Identity jigs and plastics rod. And number 3, probably the cheatingest way to catch a walleye sometimes is a slip bobber setup, and he had it on the new 2B Genesis sharpshooter rod. It's an 8-foot slip bobber specific rod, 8-foot moderate action, so you can do those reeling hook sets to pick up the line and load that fish up, and that 8-foot rod to absorb those monster head shakes. And as you can see on the fish that they caught, there were monster head shakes. Now, say whatever you want about forward-facing sonar, live scope, mega live, active target, but you still got to make those fish bite. And the thing is, in big 100 boat whatever derbies like this, almost every boat also has live scope or forward-facing sonar. So it's not like they're at this huge advantage because nobody else has it. They're just dialed in with what they're doing and how they're using it. Regardless, impressive stuff, fellas, and a big, giant, dirty 30-inch congrats. Speaking of huge suspended walleyes, I came across this next one from Minnesota Multi-Species Guide, Tanner Talbot, who is always posting giant, ridiculous fish pictures on his Instagram page. Tanner was actually running a Muskie Guy trip in northern Minnesota when Leah Anderson chucked a big old muskie lure at a giant suspended mark on live scope, suspended over 60 feet of water, and caught this walleye of a lifetime. It was 32 3/4 inches long, had a 16-inch girth, and weighed about 13.25 pounds.
So it's big.
Oh yeah, she also caught 4 muskies in 1 hour, but Tanner said that she was more excited about soaring past that dirty 30 mark than catching those muskies, which is insane. By the way, here's another 29 3/4 inch bruiser that hit Tanner's boat last week while chucking a 14-inch tube with bright blue 100-pound braid on the mud flats. Absolutely wild. The creel survey guy at the Access told Tanner that it was the biggest walleye that he had seen out of 1,000 fish that were surveyed. And it didn't come on a nightcrawler, it came on a 14-inch tube. You just never know, man. Have you ever tried lipping a walleye before? Lipping it like a bass? Because if you ever have, you'll probably never do it again unless you're MLF Bass and Pro Kyle Cortiana, who must have one heck of a callus built up on that bass thumb. Especially because it's not just one pick. Look at these, he's a repeat offender. That reminds me of this write-up I did a number of years back called 22 Unique Ways to Hold a Walleye. If you're in need of a good chuckle or a laugh, I would definitely recommend checking it out. So I came across this video on Facebook of some guys fishing up in Canada who had their stringer of walleyes hanging on the dock. And what do you think got into them? It wasn't an otter, it wasn't a snapping turtle, it was a northern pike that tried to steal a nice golden chunk of their shore lunch. As you can see in the video, I literally had the entire eater-sized walleye engulfed, but they were able to pry it open and get that puppy back, and then add some pike fingers to their menu that day. And this is exactly why everybody just goes up to Canada for fishing trips and vacations, because anybody can catch fish in Canada. They literally come to you.
Welcome friends to Canada. Canada friends loves you.
That wraps up this week's top 5. A big shout out to Seafoam for keeping us running smooth and making this fun video series possible. And if you want more walleye related content like this, sign up for our free Target Walleye emails at targetwalleye.com, and I'll see you back in 7.